So the Natural Jackson Deer Antler Velvet high strength spray is great for athletic performance, stamina, muscle recovery, longevity, heart health, and bone restoration. So our blend has a 75-to-1 extraction ratio, making it one of the purest and most potent in the industry. It's carefully sourced from premium, super happy deer who graze in wide open pastures. They only eat grasses and herbs which are free of pesticides, no GMOs, and it's all from the south of New Zealand. So you might be wondering, what is Deer Antler Velvet and who is it good for? So in short, Deer Antler Velvet is great for everyone. It enhances vitality and stamina, helps with muscle growth, but particularly useful for athletes, entrepreneurs, people who are working 9-to-5s, busy moms, and super dads. The Velvet supports athletic performance and strength, overall stamina and muscle growth, endurance, recovery, and bone and joint health. So a little bit more on the backstory of the deer. So if you're in the wild and you see a deer and you see their antlers, they're hard and they're bony, right? But what you probably didn't know is that each spring the hard antler from the previous season is cast off so that a new antler can grow in its place. So every spring the skin around the pedicle is the origin of the antler on the head, it expands and a soft velvet grows on it. And it's this velvet that we're most interested in. So the deer antler grows at an incredible speed due to its bioactive matrix of growth factors that are in it. And specifically this velvet. And so after several weeks, as the velvet reaches the final size, the cartilage within them gradually converts into bone, and then you get antlers. But researchers were fascinated by this velvet. They've studied it to understand its components and its mechanism of action, to see how it could be useful for humans in a medicinal and performance capacity. And what they found is that the velvet is filled with a complex biochemical matrix that includes a full spectrum of natural growth factors, saturated fatty acids, minerals, phospholipids, and the complete range of amino acids. So the most important for us is IGF-1, or insulin-like growth factor. IGF-1 is an anabolic hormone that stimulates the growth of bone, muscle, and other tissues. So due to its role in stimulating an increase in muscle volume and mass, which is called hypertrophy, IGF-1 is important in building in muscle and also improving overall body composition. It also influences the biological aging of cells and our sensitivity to insulin. So when the IGF-1 hormone binds to IGF-1 receptors of tissues, it stimulates the molecules that produce proteins, and it inhibits the molecules that break down proteins. So as a result, this IGF-1 positively impacts both ends of the protein synthesis, leading to hypertrophy and muscle growth. So it's this unique growth factor matrix that's found in the velvet that enables these horns to grow fast, hard, and durable. And when you take it, it has similar effects on your body. So researchers also discovered that the velvet reaches the peak potency at about 60 days of growth, which is when it should be humanely harvested. And we'll get into that later. So after the velvet is harvested, the liquid is bottled with a cold process proprietary technology, which preserves the heat-sensitive micronutrients. It's then placed in blue tinted glass bottles to shield it from the sensitive micronutrients from light, because that can decrease the potency. And then the liposomal format of the velvet spray creates 98% bioavailability, which is probably the highest of any deer antler velvet on the market. So this means when the liquid is sprayed directly into your mouth, it's immediately absorbed by the bloodstream and does not go through the digestive system, which usually reduces the bioavailability significantly. So what does that mean for you? More potent concentration of these sensitive micronutrients, which is available to you for maximum benefits. Now, the question is, how is it harvested? A lot of you are probably wondering. The entire process is controlled from farm to bottle and regulated by 3 governmental bodies in New Zealand: the National Velveting Standards Body, the Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry, and the New Zealand Food and Safety Authority. So in New Zealand, they take this really seriously. Deer antler velvet is sourced humanely, and each procedure is monitored and supervised by a veterinarian that is licensed and trained by the National Velveting Standards Body. So these procedures are performed in a government licensed facility, and they're in strict compliance with codes of practice that confirms that these animals are 1, unharmed, and 2, that their essential hygiene standards are followed. So the process is very quick, and it's designed to minimize the stress for the deer. The velvet is humanely and ethically collected. While the deer is alive, it's under local anesthetics, and it's a quick and painless procedure that does not harm the deer. So following the procedure, the deer is released back into the herd. And what's more, it's important you understand this, the antler removal process is required on most deer farms in New Zealand anyway. So, because antler deer are considered a danger to the herd. So therefore, deer farms that don't even produce deer antler velvet, they also engage in the same government-regulated, safe and monitored procedure. Now you might be asking, Natural Jackson Deer Antler Velvet is manufactured in a GMP certified facility and it's laboratory quality tested. And so during storage and shipment, precautions are taken to ensure that product quality is always maintained. And the last thing, is it safe? The answer is yes. One study was done commissioned by University of Otago in New Zealand and was overseen by Dr. James M. Suddy, who's a world-recognized leader in velvet research. And the studies were carried out according to the OECD standards. And the studies showed that after 90 days of supplementation with velvet antler, the subjects were showing no unusual signs or symptoms, and the doses of antler velvet evaluated in this particular trial were far greater than any doses of velvet antler commonly used by humans.